morning, everyone. Boker Tov. The story told about a king who went hunting once in the forest, and he ran after an animal somewhere, and the next thing you know, a group of bandits surround him, and they capture the king. And they take him into captivity. And he says, please let me go free. And they say, we'll never let you go free. If you let us go, if we let you go free, you'll find us, arrest us, and we'll all be put to death. All of a sudden, the forest watchman hears the commotion. He comes running, and the bandits hear the forest watchman coming. They all flee, and they leave the king there. This forest watchman rescues the king, and the king is so overjoyed. He says to the watchman, come with me back to the palace. I want to reward you. And he takes him back to the palace, and he says, what could I do to reward you? You saved my life. And the forest watchman says, I don't need anything. It was just an honor for me to be able to save your life. I don't need any riches. I don't need any reward. But he said, I have one question for you. He says, can you describe to me what it felt like before I arrived and the bandits surrounded you and they were about to put you to death? What did it feel like? The king flew into a mad rage and started yelling at this man. He said, are you insane? How dare you humiliate the king this way? You want me to expose my vulnerability and my fear? And he calls his guard and said, put this man to death. Have him hanged in the gallows. The man was like, what did I do? I just asked a question. Next thing you know, they drag him out. They put the noose around his neck. They put him on a platform, and they're about to pull the lever. And the king walks over to him and says, this is the way I felt right before they were about to kill me and you saved me. You know, the most important criteria or quality in human relationships is empathy. Understanding how someone else feels. That is the key to all the positive actions that we take in this world when we try to put ourselves in someone else's situation. There's a verse in this week's Parsha which is so beautiful because with one word, the Torah adds one word that teaches us this entire lesson. Torah talks about a poor man in this week's Parsha who needs money. And the highest form of charity is not to give charity, but to give someone a loan, interest-free. So the Torah says there's a mitzvah, if a poor man comes to you, give him a loan without charging him interest. Help him out. But here's what the Torah says. Im kesef kalvas ami. There's a commandment when there's a poor man who needs money, you should loan him money. And then the Torah says, Esa ani, the poor man, the Torah adds one word. Imach. If you shall loan money to the poor man, imach, with you. And Rashi asks, what does the word imach add to this verse? The poor man who's with you. And Rashi says the word imach means the following. Quoting Rashi, have a mistakel ba'atzmacha, look at yourself, ki'ilu ata'ani, like you're a poor man. When a poor man comes to you for help, imagine that you were poor. And before you give him tzedakah, think about what it would feel like if you were a poor man, and then act out of kindness, because now you understand the plight of a poor man. And with this one word, imach, the Torah is saying is, always try to put yourself in someone else's shoes, and then you'll act kindly and generously towards that person. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite experiences, I've talked about this many times, was going to Israel, to the Blind Museum, where for 90 minutes you experience what it means to be blind. You eat in a cafe in the pitch dark, you take a boat ride in the pitch dark, you go shopping in the market, and you'll never look at a blind man the same way, because you know for 90 minutes what it was like to be blind. And it's interesting, next to the Blind Museum in Israel, there's a deaf museum, where you can experience what it means to be deaf. And then there's a senior museum, where they have you feel what it means to be an old person. They put weights on your feet, and you have to walk very slowly like this. And when you come to the door, they have this something that causes your hands to vibrate, so you can't get the key in the door. And like for 5 minutes, your hand's shaking, trying to find the key hole to put the key in. And the idea is to teach people empathy. When you see an old man who walks like this very slowly, you should know what it feels like. You shouldn't just rush by him. Maybe you say, I'll give you a hand, help you cross the street. The more we could experience what other people feel like, then the more likely we're going to be kind towards them. And here the Torah says the same thing. There should be a poor man museum, where maybe for a few hours you feel like what it's like to maybe sleep on a cardboard box or have to ask for charity or something like that. If you had that experience and you put yourself in their shoes, it would be a whole different experience. And here we find one other law in this week's Parsha. You know, in our society, if you steal money, you go to jail. In Torah, there's no jail. So this week's parsha says, what do you do with a man who steals money? So Torah says, when you catch the thief, you make him pay double. Why do you make him pay double? So let's say someone stole $1,000. So first he gives back the 1,000. Then the Torah says he pays kafel. He gives a second 1,000 back to the man he stole. What's the reason for this? Because the Torah wants you to feel what the other man, the victim, felt. He was out $1,000, or it could be $100,000, it could be $1 million, it doesn't matter. Now you're going to be out that same amount of money, and you'll feel his plight for having stolen his money, what it feels like. And hopefully that will be the rehabilitation. Next time you want to steal, you'll think twice, because you know the feeling of what it means to be out a certain amount of money. The key to everything in personal relationships is always imach. Think of the person and think of yourself in that person's situation.